the enemy within. In this episode, if you are trying to learn a language, there's an enemy that wants to depress you, stop you, and drain you of your motivation. There is a way to win. Meet Jane. Jane is strong.
I am a confident adult.
Jane has goals.
I want to speak Spanish.
Yes!
I don't understand. With my tutor, or when I am by myself, I seem to be able to speak freely in Spanish. But when I try to speak to native Spanish speakers, it's like I forget everything. My mind goes blank. Which tense would that be? I will embarrass myself. I freeze up every time. Can't seem to start. I forget the right words. I can't conjugate that quickly. At times like this, I feel like quitting.
No!
Oh no.
You're not alone, Jane. There's a reason you feel like that.
Who was that?
Yes, I'm sorry for interrupting. I'm the narrator.
The narrator?
Yes, I'm narrating a video about your problem. It's actually quite a common issue with language learners.
Well then, narrate me an explanation and an answer.
Haha, well, okay, Jane. Let me explain with the help of Dan Hall. He's the author of my complete Spanish language learning journal, and he has an explanation and some advice that will help you.
Jane, your problem is not that uncommon. In fact, there's a term for it. It's called xenoglossophobia, and it is a real anxiety.
But I'm not a nervous kind of person.
In fact, xenoglossophobia can affect anyone, regardless if they're prone to anxiety or not. Xenoglossophobia is a situation-specific anxiety. Learning a foreign language is tough enough as it is. Remembering new words, verb endings, grammar rules, and so forth can cause its own types of worries. But typically, listening and speaking are the areas where xenoglossophobia typically shows up. For some people, starting to speak in a foreign language can be just as nerve-wracking as taking an important test or being evaluated by a teacher. This kind of anxiety, called an appraisal anxiety, typically stems from your own perception of how others may view your language ability, the fear that you will fail in front of them or disappoint them.
I wonder sometimes if I have actually learned the language well enough to speak.
Researchers believe that is a different type of anxiety, called context anxiety. If you haven't studied the language well enough to speak, then like a math student facing a test that he or she hasn't prepared properly for, you will feel some anxiety. That's different from the fear of speaking a foreign language. But there are some practical things that you can do to defeat xenoglossophobia.
I'm glad to hear that. What are they?
It all starts with confidence. Let's begin with your study material. Use a language system that focuses on teaching you how to speak practically, using real-life language examples. Avoid materials that begin by getting deep into the grammar of a language and that focuses more on the rules of language. For most adult learners, one-to-one instruction, or at most with a few other students, works better than large classroom instruction. So finding an instructor who provides online courses or a tutor who provides one-to-one or very small group video sessions is the safest way to begin learning. You must have confidence in your study material and your instructor. Then you must have confidence in yourself. This confidence can be developed by practice and feedback. Feedback from your tutor, a native speaker, or someone who also speaks the language but much better than you. However, it is important to find someone who is more willing to give you feedback on pronunciation than whether your grammar is perfect.
So, grammar is not important.
Grammar is important, but it is not the focus when you are building confidence to speak a language. Your focus should be first on communicating. The grammar correction and proper grammar construction will come along as needed. But as a beginner or intermediate student of the language, the more you try to force yourself to speak perfect grammar, the more you will hurt your confidence, the less freely you will speak the language, and you will develop a greater fear of speaking. In fact, your question brings me to the third thing that you need confidence in, and that is you need to have confidence in your target audience.
You mean the people that I'm talking to, right?
Exactly. Have confidence that they are just wanting to communicate with you. Have confidence that they're impressed with you. Someone who natively speaks English has decided to learn their language. And have confidence that they are not judging your every word. In fact, they are probably cheering you on, regardless if you're making grammar mistakes or not. And that brings me to one more method to help you conquer xenoglossophobia. And that is control.
You mean control my fear of speaking a foreign language?
No, I mean control of the conversation and control of the speed of the conversation. By keeping the conversation on topics where your vocabulary is the strongest, you can speak with more confidence. And if the natural flow of the conversation is going faster than you can keep up with, defeat your anxiety about that by asking your friends to slow down and to repeat what they said.
I can do that.
That leads us to the next secret weapon to defeat xenoglossophobia: cooperation. The people you are speaking with will be glad to slow down and repeat more distinctly the things you don't understand. Recognize cooperation as a strongly positive thing that makes communication possible.
That's great advice. I was afraid I was embarrassing myself by making a mistake.
That too is a natural reaction, but it can be conquered with another form of language.
What form of language is that?
Body language. Smile and laugh at yourself a little. That's a language everyone understands. This is a journey and a process that should be fun. Watch anxiety melt by laughing a little at yourself.
Through confidence in her training, her tutor, and her studying, control of the conversation speed and topics, and mutual cooperation between her and her native-speaking friends, Jane has conquered xenoglossophobia.
Me encanta hablar español. Abre una nueva forma de pensar y he conocido a muchos nuevos amigos.
Don't let the monsters of xenoglossophobia destroy your goals of studying Spanish. These practical tools and techniques will help you become the fluent speaker you want to be. Now it's your turn to both like and subscribe to this channel so that helpful videos like this can continue to be made. Join us here every Saturday for a new video from the Daily Language Learning Channel, the publisher of My Complete Spanish Language Learning Journal. Watch these videos for more from this amazing channel.